Hey, everybody, welcome to the nation. I'm JT, along with Hall of Famer and my co host, Leanne Whippen, who, by the way, survived Hurricane Helene down there. We'll probably talk about that a little bit in the show. We're coming to it from at least my studio is still intact, the Turn It, Don't Burn It studio here in Portland. Again, we'd like to thank the folks at Painted Hills Beef. Beef the Way Nature Intended, and Oregon Dungeness Crab Commission for their support of this show. Today is a bitch session. We've not ever really done this on the show before, but we're going to start off with some pumpkin spice and other maladies in the food world. And I've asked Clint Cantwell from Amazing Ribs. Clint is the president of Amazing Ribs. But this all started, Clint made a post, probably 2 weeks ago about pumpkin spice. And I agreed with him on that post. And it just so happens that afterwards I went to the grocery store and I'm walking down the aisle and there is pumpkin spice breakfast cereal for kids. And so I took some pictures of that, sent them to Clint, and that, blossomed this idea. But pumpkin spice for kids in cereal? Come on. Anyway, Clint, welcome to the show, buddy.
Thanks. Glad to be back.
So, what pushed you over the line for about pumpkin spice?
Oh, I don't know if there was ever a line. I think from the jump, I was anti-pumpkin spice. It's just, I don't personally like pumpkin pie to begin with. So then if you're breaking it down into the components of pumpkin spice, then I don't really care for it.
So you're just a pumpkin hater. So
I think so. I mean, I'm down with pumpkins on the front porch for Halloween, but I have no desire to eat them. So,
well, I was kind of I was at my daughter's house, which got devastated by the hurricane, and we were going through everything, and that included the refrigerator. And I came across brownies, and I love brownies, but these were pumpkin spice brownies, and I just couldn't. I'm like, how can you take a delicious chocolate brownie and ice it with pumpkin spice? It's heartbreaking.
But
I took them anyway.
And Jeff, I told you, I thought that it came out of Starbucks, and I did some research, and I was actually correct. Back in 2003, they came out with the pumpkin spice latte, which did gangbusters. And I think because of that, all of these other brands jumped onto the bandwagon, and year after year, the list of products that are pumpkin spiced grows larger and larger. I think Trader Joe's actually had an ad this year. They were hiring people to review all of their pumpkin spiced foods. So, if you have to hire someone special to do the product reviews, I think the trend is on its way.
Yeah, and this is the thing. Pumpkin spice isn't the taste of pumpkin. It's the spice that's added to the pumpkin. There's no pumpkin in pumpkin spice.
Right, right.
I know. It's really, the ingredients, I think, are like nutmeg, allspice, cinnamon, whatever. And they're kind of tough spices. I mean, you have to, they aren't mellow, and they're pretty hardcore, in my opinion. So it isn't like you're getting a wonderful pumpkin flavor out of it. You're getting like, fall leaves in your mouth kind of thing.
Yeah, they're harsh and always to be used in moderation. I mean, when you're making something, pumpkin bread or whatever, and you add allspice and cinnamon, they don't say like put a cup in there, right? It's like a quarter teaspoon or something. It's very small in correlation to the rest of the recipe. So I'm with you. But when I saw that pumpkin spice kid cereal, I just like lost my cookies right there. And no, I don't eat pumpkin spice cookies either.
No, so, Oreos actually has a pumpkin spice cookie, so you can eat your cookies too.
Yeah, but not this cowboy isn't going to be doing that. I can tell you that. And I'm kind of with you. We bake a pumpkin pie for Thanksgiving, for Christmas. I will eat a little sliver of it, okay, with about 14 pounds of whipped cream, homemade whipped cream, I might add, not the Cool Whip. but because to be, courteous and polite and all that, and a lot of people like it. That's fine. I don't
Yeah.
care. But I'm not going to eat. You slide a pecan pie in front of me, there's a intimate danger that it might not survive in front of me if I
Yeah.
have a fork and
And,
proper amount of whipped cream.
and you may lose a finger.
You
if
may
get
lose
too
a finger or
close.
some other body
Mhm,
part if you try to
mhm.
interrupt me. But I can't do this the pumpkin. And I think what Leanne said is absolutely true. There's
Yeah.
no pumpkin in anything that has
No.
pumpkin spice.
No, and if you break it down to its individual components, you got ginger, which is good in ginger ale or ginger beer. That's good. Cinnamon is great for like Red Hot's candies.
Mhm,
Nutmeg, you know,
mhm.
Hmm.
clove.
Allspice.
Yeah.
Clove you use for ham.
Right.
Allspice, I don't even know what people use that for. I think that's lobbyists in DC pushing some allspice agenda, but like, have you ever used allspice in anything?
Ham stuff, like
Yeah,
in a
Yeah.
glaze. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Usually in the glaze.
yeah.
A lot of brown
I
sugar, a
can't.
little allspice, and 7-Up or whatever you're.
Isn't it
Yeah,
used in like some Jamaican type dishes too?
probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like jerk and I don't
Hmm.
know. I lends itself to that a little
But do
bit.
you need jerk flavoring in your cereal? I guess
Mm.
is the
Well,
ultimate question.
you can have jerk flavored cereal and your
Yeah.
pumpkin spice latte, and you've got a hell of a breakfast there, as far as I'm
Hey guys,
concerned.
it's all about marketing, right? So
Oh, it
you
Yeah.
have to,
is.
100%.
that's what sells, or they say.
Well, to me,
Yeah, but
that's just. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, I was going to say at some point your 10 minutes of fame should end, and I think it's about the 15th minute for pumpkin spice. Like, even if, I mean, you can buy the little McCormick shaker of pumpkin spice and you may use it for your pumpkin pie, but the rest of the year, are you grabbing for that for like your omelets or anything?
No,
So why do you
No.
need it, flavoring your deodorant or whatever new product they're rolling out? It's nonsense.
it is.
I'm sorry, Jeff.
That's terrific. Pumpkin spice aroma deodorant. That
Yeah, delicious.
I don't even think the dogs would chase you on that one. They'd go,
No,
"No, you're good.
no.
Go on by." it's,
Hmm.
it's just I don't know. I can't do it. And
Yeah.
and Leanne is right. It's all marketing, and I bet you
Mhm.
the people that came up with that and in the agencies that created the campaigns, I bet you none of them eat the stuff or drink the stuff
No,
either.
no, not at all. They're laughing at us.
And they should be. And they should
Yeah.
be. We just remember, and Leanne's heard me say this a bunch of times, but George Carlin always said if you nail two things together that have never been nailed together before, somebody will buy it. And I think pumpkin spice is the absolute epitome of that theory right there.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's just
I agree.
it's just not very good. And that kind of bleeds over into one of my favorite things too to complain about is everything's got to be antioxidant now.
Hmm.
Everything from Alka-Seltzer to celery, it's got to have antioxidants in it. We're all over 45 years old, so you got to be cognizant of your antioxidants and that.
Yeah,
And it's like, how did people, I had grandparents that lived well into their 90s. They
yeah.
didn't even
Well,
they didn't
you
know what an
know,
antioxidant was.
it's to get rid of the pumpkin spice.
You gotta flush it out of your system somehow.
God, yeah. I mean, I don't get it. I mean,
Yeah,
all you have to do to know how sick you possibly are is watch television commercials at night by the big drug companies. I'm not going down that road because that's.
yeah.
But
My favorite ones are the ones that actually list the product in their side effects.
yeah,
If you're allergic to medicine XYZ, don't take medicine XYZ.
yeah,
It
yeah.
seems like a no-brainer there.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but how would you know if you've never taken it if you're allergic to it?
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
I'll state the obvious here, but how would you know
Yeah.
that, you know?
And then they go on for another 10 minutes. It causes ear bleeding,
Yeah.
yellowing of eyelashes.
Yeah,
Every side effect.
toenail fungus, whatever it
Yep.
is, it can cause everything. And
Mhm.
I just think those things are, I don't know. We've gone past the realm of sanity on some of these things.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know.
food trends should just be trends. And at some point, you got to move on from it.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's why it's a
Pork
trend.
belly burnt ends were huge for a minute, but it's kind of fading into the past. Chili crunch is a huge thing right now, but a year from now, it's going to move on from that. I hope that somebody is sane enough to start weeding these out of our grocery store shelves soon.
That would be nice. I actually saw, and you guys live further south by a long ways than I do, but up here, you were talking about burnt ends. Um, there
Pumpkin
was
spice burnt ends,
pumpkin spice. Oh
pumpkin
Lord,
spice brisket, pumpkin
yeah,
spiced
Yeah.
burgers.
yeah,
We're
pumpkin spice
barbecue nation.
pull. Yeah, oh, that
Mhm.
would be great. But I saw a package of burnt ends from maybe it was Smithfield or somebody like that they had them, and it was like $18 for 4 ounces of
Yeah.
burnt ends. And I'm like,
Crazy.
come over to the house, I'll fix you some. You
Mhm.
can give me the $20 and
Mhm.
I'll take care of this. We are gonna take a quick break. We're gonna be back with Cantwell, excuse me, president of
I've been called
AmazingRibs.com.
worse.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You'll probably walk off if we call you Clint Pumpkin Spice Cantwell, though. I don't
Yeah,
know
that's
that.
taking it too far.
Okay, we'll be back in just a minute. Stay with us. Welcome back to the nation. That's Barbecue Nation. I'm JT with Leanne. Today we've got Clint Cantwell with us from AmazingRibs.com, and it's a bit session. Started with pumpkin spice and other maladies in the food world we're going to be talking about today. I saw something. We're in the barbecue world. We very much like bacon. You were talking about burnt ends a minute ago, pork belly burnt ends, but we like bacon and stuff. But there's people out there now that are manufacturing, if you will, chocolate covered bacon. It's real bacon. It's got like Hershey's chocolate on it. Now, I will say that when a few years ago, it became kind of a trend, as you were saying, Clint, to put bacon on like a maple bar
Sure.
pastry,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, donuts. I mean, they
Yeah.
sell it on donuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's salty. That's salty sweet.
Yeah. And it
Mhm.
worked out well. And then, Madison Avenue got a hold of it and off they went with bacon on everything.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I will tell you a quick story before we do that. My mother-in-law was living with us at the time. And I was downtown Portland, and there's a place down there called Voodoo Donuts, which is kind of famous for all kinds of
Mm-hmm.
crazy, great donuts.
Mhm.
And I brought her to this big maple bar, which she loved maple bars, and had 2 pieces of bacon on it. Excuse me. I brought it home and I said, "Hey, Grandma, look what I got for you." She goes, "I can't eat that bacon." I said, "Okay." So I went in the kitchen, took the bacon off, put it on a little plate, took her in. She wiped out that maple bar in about 4.6 seconds. Okay. I went down the hallway to change my clothes. I come back, the bacon's gone too. So I evidently she couldn't eat them
Mhm.
in conjunction with one another or in
But
combination,
separate was
but
fine.
separate was fine. And that
Mhm.
bacon had big chunks of maple frosting on it. So there you go. But I think some things like that are creative. And then other things, like I said, just pouring chocolate on crispy bacon,
Yeah.
that's not very creative to me.
No.
Mhm.
And the one that gets me is the social media burgers that are like, they got to be about this tall and
Yeah.
mountains of gooey cheese dripping off them, and just is horrible looking as possible. And you can't possibly fit your mouth around them. But it's all that stuff is created for clickbait. Nobody's actually
Mhm.
eating it.
How
Right.
I mean, would you eat it with a knife and fork? Or, I mean,
The burger?
well,
Yeah, I don't,
that type of burger, those, 8
yeah.
patties, 16 pieces of cheese, 14
Hmm.
tomatoes, whatever. I mean, it's not that we can have fun with stuff, absolutely, but
Yeah.
how would you even serve that? You
Well,
know,
Jeff,
No,
I like to cut my sandwiches into quarters. I would have a terrible, terrible time with those.
yeah.
that's true. I hadn't thought of that. If you were here, you'd be saying, go out to your shop and get the chainsaw,
I'd have to skewer it first.
Yeah. I mean, I'm kind of old fashioned, as you might know. And back when they used to serve like a corned beef on rye with Swiss, and you had an olive on the toothpick, the little
Mhm.
cocktail toothpick with the
Sure.
little fuzzy things on top.
Mhm.
And that was, to me, was very classy. And now
Mhm.
you get them and, you might have a 4-foot skewer sticking out of there with
Yeah.
pineapple and all kinds of crap on it.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I don't know. I just do
Hmm.
that. The other thing I think was is a trend, and you guys living down south, waffles and chicken. I kind of get that. I love waffles. I love chicken.
Yeah.
I'm not too hep on fried chicken on top of a waffle, but I've eaten it. It didn't kill me. But
Mhm.
now I see waffles with all kinds of stuff on top of it. And it's like, if I want a waffle, I just want a waffle. I
Yeah.
want to put butter and
Mhm.
maple syrup on it. Syrup's got to be warm, by the way,
Mhm.
and do that. But I wanted to get your take on the because I've seen the same thing we were just talking about with burgers, stacks of waffles with chicken
Yeah.
in between and stuff.
Mhm.
I mean, the internet and social media is good for a lot of things, but it's also been the demise of many of foods because people just have to keep pushing the boundaries, all in chasing the almighty click.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
It's the
would
same
you?
thing with like the people that have to squeeze their brisket on camera on
Mhm. Sure.
Instagram.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
work so hard to get this perfect juicy brisket, and then you're going to squeeze the heck out of it.
Mhm.
It's and I don't want your gross fingers all over my brisket.
no, no.
Slice it and serve it.
Yeah, it's kind of like they're very proud when they pick it up that it bends. It's like,
Mhm.
okay, you cooked it properly, but we could see that. You don't have to pick it up and it's like a cat draped over your arm or something.
Unless of course you're judging it, and then you got to do all this nonsense.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
As
that
Leanne knows, she's
Yeah.
a
you do
seasoned judge.
that, Leanne, when you judge, do you like hold it up, put the slice on your finger and see if it drapes?
I do not. What I do is I pick up a slice and I do pull it apart to see the
Yeah,
elasticity of it.
Yeah.
And if it falls apart, yeah, I do that, but I don't do drape it over the finger thing.
yeah. I
Well,
know.
maybe.
I learned from you when we judged together at the Jack. I was watching you out of the corner of my eye to see how to do it properly. Just a little tug,
Yep.
Yeah.
make sure
Yep.
it doesn't fall apart.
That's correct.
Yeah. Well,
But none of
it's
this. I didn't see you grabbing the leftover brisket and
No, I did not.
see how much juice I can squeeze out of it, like an orange.
well, I don't know. I think we've gone there's always somebody else that will come up with something. But it's like,
Well, that's entertainment, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
it is. And so is this show today. So
yeah.
whatever I say, I would literally take with 1 grain of salt
Oh,
because
100%. And I mean, I've been guilty of it in the past. I get these crazy food ideas in the middle of the night, and then I go and make a hamburger bun entirely out of mac and cheese, predominantly for the clicks.
yeah.
So I can't cast stones in my little house of glass, but still, it I see the hypocrisy in it.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, we're gonna take another break, but when we come back, I'm gonna I'm gonna quiz Clint and Leanne and
Oh no.
see if they know what's on the new Burger King menu
Oh,
that that popped out. Well, it will pop out, I think.
Oh boy. And Burger King, I know you're going to hate to hear this, but out of all the fast food burgers, I do like my Whoppers. That's
fine.
that is my favorite one. But I'm ashamed. I don't know.
Well,
We'll find out.
this'll thrill you. Okay. Just
Stay
Okay.
tuned.
we're gonna take a break. We'll be right back with Clint and Leanne after this. Welcome back to the nation. I'm JT. If you want to follow us on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, X, whatever, we're out there. Leanne has her pages. I have my pages. We have the show pages. There's a lot of pages, and but you can follow us, and the shows get posted on that too. The links to the shows a couple times a week and the after hours. So we're not that hard to find. And today we're talking with Clint Cantwell, the president of AmazingRibs.com. And again, we'd like to thank the folks at Painted Hills Natural Beef and the Oregon Dungeness Crab Commission, and Not Like Pumpkin Spice, Trim Tabs Pig Powder.
Oh, yes. And you know what? We're coming up on the holidays. What a great gift idea,
Yes.
right? So pig powder won best rub on the planet, very versatile barbecue rub that can be used on French fries, baked beans, scrambled eggs. It's just delicious. So
It
pigpowder.com.
is.
And you can use, I used it, and we've talked about this before. I used it on green beans with bacon and onion in them. And
Yum.
it was sitting right there, and I went, I'll just try this. Kind of like you creating a burger at 2 a.m.,
Yeah.
Clint. I went, I'll try this. And it was really, really good.
Mhm.
So
Maybe Leanne's got a job for you as a recipe developer.
oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and spicy pig powder is coming soon.
Is it?
Nice.
Yes.
Excellent.
So the
Excellent.
recipe has been approved, done, and all that. So now I'm just working on the labels, and then we'll get it out there.
Great.
Okay. Well, as before we went to break, I asked you guys if you knew about
Burger King.
Burger King. Yeah.
Yeah.
They have a special Halloween menu. And
Oh
actually,
boy.
this is okay. I mean, this is fun. It's a short time deal. Like that. They have it's all based on the Addams family.
Okay.
So if I say Morticia Addams, what would you think would be a menu item?
Ooh, I don't know.
That's a big reach. I get it, but
Yeah, I don't know.
Morticia Addams. I don't know. Chicken sandwich.
Chicken breast? Is it?
No, a chicken. It's a milkshake. They have a chocolate milkshake that's got cake batter in it.
Oh, I would like that.
Yeah. Evidently, it's very sweet. Okay.
Huh.
Remember Thing, the hand?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. What would Thing have?
Chicken fingers.
Chicken fingers. Yes.
Yeah.
Close. Onion rings. The Thing's rings is what they're called.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Gomez. Gomez is pretty simple. Just think about Gomez and that name and the history of the name Gomez, and then tell me what it is.
Mm.
Oh, that one's got me stumped.
Churros.
Oh.
Okay.
Gomez churros with a chocolate dipping sauce.
Hey, that sounds
So they have the
Sounds
cinnamon and
good.
sugar and the whole thing, but then
Sounds good.
okay. And then the last one, Wednesday, the daughter.
Wednesday probably has a burger of her own.
She does.
I'm thinking a burger with a black bun.
Close, a purple bun.
Okay.
Oh,
A purple
and
bun.
orange cheese and
a Swiss
American or
cheese.
Oh, I'm surprised they didn't go
Wow,
orange.
Yeah.
Leanne nailed it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Swiss cheese, double patty, purple bun. That's the
Okay.
Wednesday burger. So
Interesting.
yeah, that
used to be my stripper name, Purple Buns.
we'll have to make that a trivia question, won't we, Leanne?
Yeah.
What was Clint Cantwell's stripper name?
Yep.
Yeah. So
Purple buns.
yeah, and there's some other companies doing like some of the chicken fast food places doing buckets of chicken for Halloween. But again, those are very short-lived promotions. They're
Mhm.
Yeah.
30 days or less, and everybody can live with that. But if I see
Sure.
a hamburger start coming out with purple buns
Yeah.
continuously, I would be upset.
Mm.
So anyway, like so Clint, what's the deal with now putting honey on pizza?
Well, I don't know. The hot honey craze is definitely taken off. It started with a
For
brand Mike,
years.
I
It's
think.
been
Yeah.
a craze for years now.
And then in the last year or so, maybe a little less than that, the pizza joints have jumped on it because people started drizzling the hot honey on pepperoni pizza, which I haven't tried it. In my mind, it probably works, but I, you got to be in that crowd that likes pineapple on pizza, I guess, if you like the
Mm.
salty sweet.
Well, I like salty sweet, but for me, it's some reason it just doesn't. I've never
Nauseates you.
tried it. I've never tried it. So
Yeah.
I can't speak from experience, but it's just
Yeah, I
some
haven't either. So I don't want to bash it until I try it, but it's
I
not really
think
for
it
me.
it does have its place with the right ingredients. I do. I think it's drizzled very ever so lightly.
Sure.
yes.
Um, yeah,
But I
It's
saw some
actually
of
really hot honey's great on fruit, or if you grill
sure.
fruit, it's really nice as well.
Mm.
I saw people dipping it, and they had
Yeah,
a
that's
large ramekin of honey. I don't know if it was hot honey or not, but a
yeah.
large, and they were dipping their slices in there.
No,
And
that's
I'm
not
like,
Yeah,
good.
that's too overwhelming, and it's at the other end of the flavor spectrum for me.
Yeah, and
mhm.
I get people's fascination with ranch dressing, but I never got behind the ranch dressing, dipping your pizza
Yeah,
in ranch dressing either.
Mhm.
So
yeah.
pizza is pizza, ranch dressing is salad.
Mhm.
Let
Well,
them,
that's like if you go through a fast
But
food
if
and
you
they,
have the crust and all your ingredients are gone, why not dip it in some ranch,
I
right?
well,
guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
that would be legitimate. But if you got
Mhm.
the cheese and the pepperoni or sausage, whatever you got there,
Mhm.
I
Hmm.
don't I don't think you. For me, there's nothing to entice me to uh, take those flavors from those ingredients, which is why I ordered the pizza and
Yeah.
stick them in ranch dressing. Now,
I
Mhm.
my
think the
wife, that's a
problem is
different story, but that's okay.
I think the problem is this is pizza from Pizza Hut, which is pretty horrible to start with. So you got to mask it in all sorts of garbage, dip it in chocolate, covered it in ranch, and then a little hot honey drizzle.
Yeah. Now I don't mind when I go through a drive-through, which actually isn't very often. Um, but if I get just some fries, I will actually dip the fries in like some sweet and sour sauce.
Hmm.
But there's no sour in their sweet and sour sauce. It's just sweet.
Mhm.
But I will dip fries in that once in a while. Not onion rings, but just fries.
Hmm.
Now, what about the fries and chocolate shakes? Is that a thing that you get down with or not? There's a
I
lot of
don't
people that like their fries dipped in their shakes, which I never really could get behind
I
personally.
don't understand the concept unless you want your shake to last longer or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But going back when I was a kid, there was a up in Oregon City, which that was like going to the big city for us. And there was a ice cream store called Alexander's, and now it's a taco place. But
Hmm.
and they made all hand scooped, hand dipped milkshakes, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
But they also had pepperoni sticks that were not mass produced. They were a local company, and they sold all kinds of stuff. But their big thing was the ice cream and the milkshakes.
Yeah.
But my folks, because I loved pepperoni and I still do, would buy me a pepperoni stick. I would stick my pepperoni stick in the ice cream and eat it as a kid.
Mm.
Oh,
Because the pepperoni sticks were a little spicy. And so,
okay.
so being like, 6, 8, 10 years old, that I'm thinking back on it, that probably cooled off that spice a little bit for me.
Right.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Uh,
Mhm.
that was a long time ago. And the
Or
ghosts
you
of,
were just nuts.
yeah, well, I still am nuts, but I mean, it was just, it just, that's one thing I did, but I can't do the pizza and the ranch. I can't do, a lot of those things.
I feel like the crazy old man shaking his fist at a cloud. I just, I'm
Well,
so over all these crazes.
yeah,
Get off my lawn.
you're gonna be like Clint Eastwood out there. Get off my lawn.
Yep.
Um, the other thing another trend that they came up with not that long ago is dill pickle flavoring.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Everywhere.
Dill pickle in jerky, dill pickles in peanut butter, you can go on.
I remember I
Cereal.
got a little at a food show. They had a little dill pickle, and it was filled with dill pickle flavored salt. It was a little salt shaker,
Oh, well,
Oh,
which I
that's
could
cute.
see on potato chips if you're making them at home, that kind of
Or
thing.
popcorn, maybe.
Yeah.
yeah. I
Frosted
don't.
Flakes. Do you want some dill pickle flavored Frosted Flakes, JT?
No,
Mm,
no. I like Tony the Tiger just as he is,
straight up.
Yep.
straight up.
There's a
Mhm.
reason he's been successful all of these years.
Yeah, what 80 years, 90 years,
Yeah.
whatever it's been. It's been a
That's an
while.
old tiger.
It's an old tiger now,
Wow.
but I worked with the guy years ago that was the original voice of Tony the Tiger.
Oh,
Really?
really?
Yeah, Dallas McKinnon, who you would remember from the Daniel Boone show. He played Cincinnatus. He did a lot of voices, a lot. And he worked for
Interesting.
Disney. He worked directly for Walt Disney. He voiced 94 of the voices in the 101 Dalmatians.
Wow.
Wow.
Just stuff like that. And but he was the original Tony the Tiger.
Hmm.
And even when he got older, he could still do it. I can't do it. It's great
Wow.
and all that.
Mhm.
But no, I like my Frosted Flakes crunchy without dill pickle,
Mhm.
Yep. Or pumpkin spice.
or pumpkin
Mhm.
spice, or hot honey for that matter.
Yep.
Right.
I don't care about that. Anyway, we're going to take a break and come back and wrap up the show with Clint Cantwell and Ms. Whippen and myself here on The Nation. And thank you for staying with us this far. And we'll make it more entertaining in the last segment. And then after hours. Don't forget about after hours. We'll be right back. Welcome back to The Nation. We've got Clint Cantwell with us, president of AmazingRibs.com. We've also got Leanne, my co-pilot. It's very good to see her. I was worried about her last week in the
Yes.
hurricane, and the pictures. And how long were you with it? Were you without cell service at all?
No,
No,
cell service was there. But yeah, it was pretty horrific to see the aftermath. And the thing is, it came at night. So when my
Yeah.
daughter was filming the water, like above the tire line on the cars, and
Wow.
I don't know if it was the National Guard coming through with their spooky little vehicles. You don't see that because the next day the water's mostly receded. So you
Yeah.
look at it and you're like, it doesn't look that bad.
No,
And then I
but
go
I
into my
think
daughter's house and I see the water line and I see what's
so
happened.
sad.
And had it happened in the day, I think people would understand
Right.
really what
Right.
Yeah.
happens when the water comes in.
Yeah, I think it was high tide was like 1:30 in the morning or so.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it was bad.
these people just watched it get
There were
higher and
actual
higher.
catfish running through the water in front of my daughter's house. They filmed it.
Really?
Catfish were, yeah, in the water swimming.
What about reprobate alligators? Any of those get
I don't know about that, but yeah, it's
The reason I ask is there was somewhere in your neck of the woods, guy went out on his deck. It was the second floor deck and the stairs going down, and he was filming all the debris and stuff out there. And he turned around, and he went to go down the steps, and he stopped, and you saw this big kind of dark
oh
lump.
wow.
And then he goes, "Nope,
Jeez.
I'm not going down there." And then the gator
Mhm.
moved, swam
Ooh.
away a little bit. He goes, I'm good.
Interesting.
I'm
Yeah.
good. Yeah, gee,
Wow.
many Christmas.
Mhm.
That up here you might get bit by a mosquito. or a renegade garden snake or something, but you don't have gators and all that.
No, not in
Anyway.
Memphis either.
That's probably a good thing. That's probably a really good thing. So, kale. I want to talk about kale. Right up front, I'm going to tell you, I do not like kale. Okay. I don't like the flavor of kale. To me, it ranks right up there with the 473 million cubic tons of zucchini that's produced every year that you try to pawn off on your neighbor, right? But there seems to be a craze in kale too. It's an antioxidant, so it's good for you.
Hey, there you go.
Kale was a craze a while back. I remember in Chicago, we had a kale salad. You really have to work the kale, and the dressing was a tahini dressing. And, it is a tough vegetable, but it's really good fried.
Yeah, fried kale is actually delicious.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Well, I've never had fried kale. So the next time we see each other, Leanne, I'll get some kale.
It
and
mellows it out, and,
Yeah.
just hit it with some salt and you're good to go.
I always
You
thought
remember
it was
the craze back in the 80s where they filled the peach slices with cottage cheese? That never made any sense to me.
yeah.
I think that was big with my mom when she thought it was a diet.
That came right out of Sunset Magazine, Clint.
Was it?
Yeah, or Better Homes and Gardens. I have some of those old cookbooks. I buy them if I go to a garage sale for 50 cents, and you look at some of those old recipes, and it's just stuff you're looking at, and that's kind of like aspect salad to me. My aunt used to make aspect salad, and I just thought it looked like a bloody mess there. So literally, and I wasn't going to eat it. So if you took all the ingredients of aspect salad individually, I liked them all. But combined in that wobbly look, it looked something out of
isn't it just, it's like gelatin with whatever you want to stick in the middle of the jello salad.
Yeah. And who came up with the name aspect? Is this a different aspect on life? Is this an aspect of your brain? What is this? So
yeah, they didn't do too much brainstorming on that one.
No, I don't.
Not a name that rolls off your tongue or makes it appetizing to you in any way, shape, or form.
And I always thought that, back to kale for a minute, I always thought kale was good for filling up potholes in the county roads. That's what I thought. So, because it's tough. It is. It's very fibrous.
Tough.
Yeah, very fibrous. A couple pounds of that and a chuck hole and a little gravel on top, you're good to go.
Throw your zucchini in there too.
Oh yeah.
Yet you plant it again the next year, don't you?
Yeah. Well, see, I figured they could end hunger on Earth if they planted like 10,000 cherry tomato plants, and 750 zucchini plants. There would be enough to feed everybody. It just would work out that way.
Yeah, those are about the only two things that grow in our yard. Although I got into, somebody turned me on to these peppers called Jimmy Nardello peppers, and they're super sweet. So I planted them this year from seeds, and they're delicious. It's one of the few things that actually grows in my backyard. So
I've
that was
never
the
heard
one
of them.
thing that I did different this year.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I just saw it on one of those cooking shows, and I decided to try it. And they're very.
Did you say they were Jimmy?
Jimmy Nardello.
Who's Jimmy Nardello?
He's the guy that invented the pepper.
Oh.
I have no idea what Nardello is.
It's like I learned something today.
He sounds like a bully from my high school, doesn't he?
It does.
And lastly, this is an old one, but okra. I happen to like okra. I like fried okra, and I like okra in my gumbo, if you will, and that type of thing. A lot of people don't care for it. My dad was a vehement anti-okra guy. Of course, he was, he pretty much lived up here his whole life, and except when he was in the service. So I can kind of understand that. But I actually think okra adds, like to gumbo or to soups and stuff.
Yeah.
I think okra adds to it.
I went to college in New Orleans, and having it in gumbo is a pretty frequent thing. Either that or sassafras
Yeah.
leaves, the filet gumbo, and both of those are used as a thickener. But fried okra is delicious.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Um, so if we ask Clint what your pet peeve is, your number one pet peeve, it would have to be pumpkin spice.
Yeah, this time of the year. That's right up there at the top of the list.
And
The rest
Leanne,
of the year, I don't really know. I got a different pet peeve almost every single day. Again, I'm turning into a grumpy old man.
it's all right, you earned it. Leanne, what would be yours? Number one.
I don't really think that I have any.
The lady with the pumpkin behind her.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't really hate on any food
Yeah.
or spice. If I don't like it, I don't eat it. Move on.
So here's the question for you.
That's very grown up and mature of you compared to
Well,
me.
thank you, Clint.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what are you doing hanging out with Clint and me if you're gonna
Exactly.
be that way?
Well, I have to
Forever.
vent occasionally.
You guys, you're stuck here with a couple of curmudgeons.
Yes,
I'm going to feel much better after this show.
I'm sure you will. So I've got a question, and I legitimately do not know the answer.
Okay.
Is there a difference in flavor between the white pumpkin and the orange pumpkins? And that deformed thing you got over your right shoulder there?
Yeah, I call that like a pumpkin that has like acne on it.
Yeah,
And
it's
then
diseased or something.
and
Yeah.
the white is like an albino pumpkin. Honestly, I've never tried white pumpkin and I don't know
Yeah,
the answer to that question. And now I'm going to
I
have
don't
to
know
search out.
Yeah, take a look. I don't know if all pumpkins are edible.
I don't
Wouldn't
know.
you think that you would have seen like white pumpkin pie at this point in our
Don't say
lives?
that, Clint. Don't. Somebody's
Oh.
going to listen to this show.
Well,
and
who's
it's going
to
to turn into
say?
white pumpkin
Who's
spice.
to say that if you cut into a white pumpkin, it might be orange inside?
Hey, could be.
I'm
I
going to
doubt
get
it,
one.
but
I'm going to get one.
Yeah.
And we'll answer that question in the next couple of weeks prior to Halloween. I will find out what it looks like inside. I literally do not know.
No.
I mean, it's
Hey, we could
probably
have.
like any kind of squash kind of thing, like a butternut squash versus an acorn squash. I don't know.
Yeah.
Let us know what you find out.
let us
Very,
know.
very, very possible that we just created the next food craze: white pumpkin pie.
Oh God, I
Yeah.
hope not.
Albino
Anyway,
pie.
we got to get out of here. We're out of time, but Clint's going to
All right.
stick around for after hours. Clint, thank you. Clint,
Yeah, thank you guys.
Yes,
It's been a
thank
lot
you.
of fun.
Cantwell from AmazingRibs.com. He is the president now. And of course, Leanne and myself will be back next week with another show, unless there's another
Yes.
hurricane or something. But anyway, thank you all for listening. We're going to step away, and don't forget to check out After Hours online. Turn it, don't burn it. Remember where you got that saying. See ya. Hey everybody, welcome to After Hours here on Barbecue Nation. I'm JT along with Ms. Whippen today and Clint Cantwell. I'm looking for my notes here. If you missed the regular show, it was a rousing bitch session about food trends, especially this time of year. It all started with Clint and I going back and forth on social media with pumpkin spice. Just no, don't do that. Just
That's a good synopsis of the last 50 minutes.
Yeah, just don't do that. And then we talked about some other different food things that over the years that we do. And I think the main thing is I have this vision when you talk about pumpkin spice or any of these things we were talking about. When I think about that, because I'm a very visual guy, as we all are here, I don't see that vision in my brain as there's pumpkin and a little bowl of sugar or cinnamon or nutmeg, whatever. I see chemicals. That's all I see is chemicals. I don't want to go off and be like Robert Kennedy Jr. here. That's
Mm.
because we don't do politics, but that's all I see when you say stuff to me like pumpkin spice or any of these things you see on the store shelf, and you whip it up and you look at the label, and it could say with kumquat flavoring, but there's no
Yeah.
kumquats in it. You know,
Yeah.
that's the way I think. Unfortunately, that's where we've progressed to. Anyway, um, is what it is. What speaking of Thanksgiving, which is coming up, Clint, what is your favorite thing to do on Thanksgiving? Cook food wise, cooking.
Oh, cooking wise, I was gonna say put on pants since normally I'm at home working by myself, so I don't put on pants. But when the guests come over, I have to. So that's rule number one on Thanksgiving: put on pants. And but I don't really have, I don't have some signature go-to dish. I have started spatchcocking my turkey on Thanksgiving because I think that it just cooks a lot more evenly and it
Yeah,
cooks a little faster. You don't have that perfect little photo op at the table with the beautiful browned bird, Norman Rockwell style, but I think
right.
it's more effective, efficient way of cooking a turkey. So that's the one thing that I do. And then Brussels sprouts with bacon. I'm a big fan of Brussels sprouts, so that's my go-to side dish. I'm not really into the baked goods on Thanksgiving, but obviously you have to have really good pies there.
Do you like dressing?
Uh, I do when it's done right.
Yeah, yeah. I'm a dressing fan.
Yeah. But you
My
like, like stovetop stuffing. I'm just not
no, no, no.
down for that because it kind of comes out as some mushy little blob. But
Right.
if you make it yourself, it can be really nice.
Yeah, I do the um the they look like miniature croutons, and then
Yeah.
I do that, and I put some mushrooms and celery and onions, and I actually put water chestnuts in it and some
Oh.
seasoning and a lot of stock. Um,
Hmm.
I create stock from a couple days before, and I've got that, and I usually have too much, so I put some of that stock in the dressing as it's cooking and make a nice crunchy crust on the top of it, but it's fluffy inside, not gooey. And
Oh. And you don't put it in the bird, right?
no, 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 no. I
Yeah.
cook it. I actually cook it in a an old roasting dish, roaster, electric roaster. It's got
Oh, okay.
all of our moms had those, and I still
Yeah.
got my mom's, which is, God, that thing's probably 80 years old now. Surprised it doesn't blow up, but
Yeah. My
that's what.
grandmother had one and she would stick like an 18-pound turkey in there the day before and it would cook for 36 hours and just dry as dirt in her little turkey roaster. It always smelled great, but it was not her best dish. I don't know
Yeah.
why she kept going back to it every year.
My mom was the same way. She would get up at 5 in the morning and put the turkey in the oven.
Yeah.
We didn't eat till like 3 or 4 in the afternoon, right? And that thing was just as chewy as my flip flops here.
Yeah.
It just like that. Um, but I wanted to go back to spatchcocking because Leanne and I have talked about this on the show, and of course, Meathead, he's a huge proponent of spatchcocking.
And it's just so fun to say.
Yeah, yeah. And if they don't know what you're talking about, they kind of give you the eye, like what?
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's easier to cut the bird up too. Once it's
Yeah.
cooked, it's easier to get the breast off and get proper amount of the dark meat, and all
Yeah.
that. I just think it's easier to handle when you do that, you know. And so I always cook a couple of extra. We got a store here that carries some big turkey legs. So I
Yeah.
will put 3 or 4 extra legs in my smoker the day
That's
before.
smart.
And
Yeah.
because a lot of this crowd really likes dark meat, but we do make enough gravy to get through the white meat too, you know. like that. And that's just the way I do it. So I think we've evolved in that, but there is absolutely no pumpkin spice involved in anything that I do that day.
And obviously you need mashed potatoes with lots of butter and heavy cream.
Yep. Yep.
Or artery
I
clogging the
throw
better.
whole cloves of garlic into my water when I'm boiling the potatoes, and it mellows it out, and it's really
Oh,
good when you mash it all up.
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
that's smart.
Mhm. It's very
I'm
good.
gonna
Whole
steal that
cloves?
from you.
Yeah, whole clove. Just throw them right in the water when you're boiling the potatoes, and then when you mash them up, they mash up with it and they mellow out, and it's delicious.
How many do you put in?
I would say for a 5-pound bag, I would put in probably 6 or 7 cloves, so quite a bit.
That's really good.
Mhm.
I also
I'm
add a
feeling
little
it.
sour cream to my mashed potatoes. Not a lot,
Yeah,
but
sure.
I just add, cup, uh, 3/4 of a cup or something, depending on how many people we're having. But
Hmm.
I'm with the butter and the heavy cream, a little sour cream. I'm going to try your garlic trick this year.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
So,
very easy and good.
yeah, I like that. Anyway, let's get back to obnoxious foods. Um, lima beans. I do not do
No.
lima beans. My
I'm good
mom
with
would
most vegetables, but lima beans are, I don't know, maybe it's PSD or from grade school. I think they used to serve me lima beans in the lunchroom, and it's turned me off ever since.
Hmm.
my mom
PTS, not PST.
my
Mm.
my mom would make lima beans, big pot, and she'd throw some ham in there. Uh, Probably a ham hock. I don't remember
Yeah.
honestly, but I knew there was
Mhm.
something in there like that. And I could tell as soon as you opened the back door to go in the house, that smell would come.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Can't do it, folks.
Yeah.
You may be a lima bean grower up in the Midwest. I have no idea. You're a fine person if you do, but I cannot eat
Yeah.
lima beans.
What
Just
about black-eyed peas on New Year's Day?
Do it every year.
That's
yeah,
Do
yeah,
it
that's a
every
big
year.
thing in the South.
yeah, yeah. I add those. I make a black bean soup for New Year's Day, and
Hmm.
Gotta do
that
your
kind of
greens.
gotta do
Gotta do
your
your greens.
yeah, and put some black eyed peas in there. It's great.
Mhm.
So
Then isn't there a dip called like black-eyed pea caviar or something like that? It's
I haven't had that.
Hmm.
yeah. Oh, cowboy caviar is what
Oh,
it's
cowboy
called.
caviar.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
which is
okay.
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. So I like hummus. If you're talking about those types of things, I like hummus. Not
Hmm.
really big on tabbouleh. To me, it's a little bitter, but you could eat it. But
Mhm.
I like that. But yeah, I like hummus and any of that type of stuff. I'm always willing to try things. I've
Sure.
never just like that. The one you talked about school. One of the things that I cannot do, I think they've banned them. I think they've actually made them illegal because the EPA said it's not good. But is candied beets. They used to serve us
Hmm.
these diced candied beets when I was a kid in school.
Oh.
They never stayed with me too long. Something about them. The
Yeah.
janitor had to come clean up my lunch area several times till finally the janitor walked over to the head cook and said, "Quit giving this kid those goddamn candied beets because I'm tired of cleaning this up." So I never had to eat them after that. But
Mm.
Square pizza was huge
oh yeah, yeah,
in the
that was
cafeterias in grade school.
yep,
Mhm.
I
yep.
don't think you see it anywhere else outside of a cafeteria, square pizza.
Well, they probably never had the budget to buy a real round pizza pan.
Yeah.
Because they multi-purpose there, so they were baking other things in them. So we had
Yeah,
square
that's
pizza
true.
too, and it was usually pretty dang chewy. Um,
Mhm.
not real heavy on the cheese or toppings,
No.
but a lot of thick, chewy bread like that.
Mhm.
So I don't know. We've come a long ways in the food world. I think a lot. Um and there's some things that, like what we've been talking about, that hang on since we were kids. But sometimes I really have to wonder how the new, I don't know, what do you want to call them, foodies, something, doing stuff like we were talking about, peanut butter and pickles and some of
Yeah.
those. I mean, they're trying to be creative, like you said, clickbait, trying to start a fad.
Yep.
Not very good. Um, it's not like all of a sudden you're selling purple shirts or something. This is
Yeah.
stuff you expect people to eat.
Is
And
there a
it's
food, Leanne, that you just can't touch because you overdid it at a young age, or you just can't stand the sight or smell of?
One thing that I just never ate and I won't eat, I'm not a chicken liver person,
Yeah.
so it
My
wasn't
wife
something that
loves
I
it.
OD'd on and now I
Yeah.
don't eat it. I just don't eat it and don't eat it.
I
I mean, if
don't.
it's with a lot of onions and
Yeah.
bacon in there, I'll do it, but it's not my preference.
what about like calf's liver?
I can't eat any liver. My mom served me what she said was chicken fried steak.
Oh
I was
God.
about 12 and it was battered liver. She thought she was going to fool me and it just turned me off the liver the rest of my life.
Mhm. I believe it.
I had a friend in college. He wouldn't eat liver. He goes, liver tastes like dirt. I don't eat it. He would never eat it. I
Yeah.
happen to like chicken livers, small doses,
Uh-huh.
like 6 or 8 pieces
Yeah.
wrapped in bacon or something, about once a year. That's enough for me. But I'll eat them. I like gizzards too, and I like hearts.
Hmm.
Growing up on a farm, we had to utilize all the animals that we
Sure.
slaughtered or harvested,
Mhm.
so we did that. So we actually used to fight over, uh me and the brother and sister, but they were much bigger and much older than me, so I didn't stand much of a chance. But
Mhm.
if a gizzard or a heart or something, and I got the liver because they wouldn't eat the liver. So that I guess maybe that's why
Lucky you.
yeah.
Mhm.
But no, can't do lima beans. There was a few things like that. My mom used to make oyster stew.
Hmm.
I like oysters. I like oysters on the half shell,
Yeah.
that type of thing. A few fried oysters once in a while is fine. But she would make this big pot of this milky, greasy.
Ooh.
Ooh, you're really selling it here.
I am.
Yeah.
I am. I'm trying to remember. And it was kind of yellow because she put a
Oh
lot of butter
God.
in it too.
Boy.
And then she'd buy a couple of pints of petites or something and put them in there. And she thought this stuff was
Mm.
to die for.
Wow.
I just thought it was death. I didn't want it to die for. It was, to me, it was just, it just couldn't do it. And this,
Now,
Mhm.
did you grow up in a coastal area? Why did
no,
she have this this abundance of oysters?
her family was originally from Sweden, and
Okay.
I have no idea if that's applicable, but she always loved oysters.
Huh.
Mm.
Um, I love clams. I love clams. Leanne knows I love crab. I love,
Mhm.
fish,
Yeah.
like that, but I
You
just
just
couldn't.
you don't want a milky stew
Yeah.
of
I just
clams and
I just think,
oysters.
yeah, that's just not good. Just not good. And if maybe the toasted breads that she would serve with it, they were always good. They always had like butter and garlic on them and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'd eat a ton of that, but
Hmm.
maybe a quarter cup of that oyster stew with no oysters, in it.
Boy.
So couldn't do it. No can do, Buckaroo.
Mhm.
It's like Leanne, growing up, your mom and dad were both pretty good cooks, I think, and
Very
relatives.
good. Yeah.
Was there something they made that you couldn't eat, wouldn't eat?
Um, so my grandmother had what they call a beaten biscuit machine. I don't know if you're familiar with that. It's kind of an
No.
old crank, and you run the dough through it over and over. I guess that's why they call it beaten biscuit. It had a marble top on it, and you just keep till it's super, super thin, and then you bake them off, and they just tasted like a dry biscuit, and that was like the thing to have with these old hams that my grandmother would get, and mustard, and it was good all together.
Yeah.
But that was like a tradition that I couldn't get into those beaten biscuits for, and
Hmm.
I actually inherited that machine and I don't have it anymore.
That's how much it meant to you.
Yeah. It would have made a nice table, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, there was I had an aunt that couldn't cook very well. She tried, but she couldn't cook very well. And I remember she made kidney pie. We were going to her house for dinner, and she made kidney pie. And I remember my dad, when she set it down on the table and gave him some, he just looked at her. Her name was Myrtle. She was about 5'1", had a real scratchy voice, had a heart of
Hmm.
gold. But she put that on his plate, and he looked at her and he said, "Mert, hell no." He
Mhm.
just pushed away. So there's things like that that I have never, or I don't remember eating any kidney
Yeah.
pie like that. I don't
Mhm.
remember. I know people do eat them or cook them and eat them. It'd just be like, to me, eating a chewy Super Bowl. So I don't
Yeah.
know,
Mhm.
like that.
Well, fortunate for us, there's not a lot of those horrible foods coming off of most smokers and grills
Right.
backyard. You're not going to get
Mhm.
a smoked kidney pie at my house.
Probably not. Probably not. What was there something in when you were young, Clint, that a relative cooked? Maybe not mom and dad, but somebody else. And
No, that chicken fried liver just sticks with me. I
Yeah, it's
don't
bad.
know, that overwhelms all of my memories of childhood foods. But for the most part, my mom was a very adventurous cook and a very good cook. And, from an early age, she got me and my brother and my two sisters in there helping out. So I think that kind of formed the basis of
Mhm.
my passion for food today.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, I would say that was true. My mom was a very good cook. I had one aunt in particular who was a very good cook. They were farm wives. They both worked jobs in local
Mhm.
towns, but they grew up on farms,
Hmm.
and so it was always kind of farm oriented, ranch oriented food. But they were both
Mhm.
excellent cooks, and they made they were big on pies and cakes, and uh we ate a lot of casseroles.
Mhm.
Um and they were, for the most part, very, very good. There was just a few things that of course, I came along a little later in life, and so maybe the maybe the efficiency and technique was starting to slip a little bit by the time I
Yeah.
got old enough to really realize
Mhm.
what was going on. But, for the most part, it was good. Well,
Casseroles are a great way to hide a myriad of mistakes. Just throw
yeah,
enough stuff in there and nobody knows what's going on.
it's
Mhm.
kind of like sauces,
Yeah.
gravies.
Or sausages. Sausage and sausages. You can throw
Yeah.
whatever you want in there.
Yeah, you can do it. Anyway, I think it's time we get out of here. Clint Cantwell, president of AmazingRibs.com. He started it with the pumpkin spice thing.
Yes,
He started it.
it's my fault, folks,
Mhm.
if you
Yeah,
had to listen to me ranting about pumpkin spice for an hour.
that's all
Mhm.
right. It's all good.
I
And
apologize.
nah, never. Leanne, we're glad that you're safe and
Oh,
sound
thank you.
Yes.
like that. And Leanne and I will be back next week with another
Mhm.
edition of whatever it is we're doing here. But Barbecue
Mhm.
Nation, we thank you for listening and taking the time, your time, to share with us, and we appreciate it. So remember our motto here: turn it, don't burn it. Take care, everybody.